Is the Brexit pervert in Succession meant to be Nigel Farage? So I was watching an episode of the hit HBO show Succession yesterday, and there was a scene where there's sort of like a high-end establishment party with lots of political figures from across the world, and this gentleman in particular was referred to as Glenn the Brexit pervert.
You know Glenn the Brexit pervert? Yeah, he just sent this to me.
By the character Logan Roy, who's brilliantly played by Kieran Culkin, the brother of Macaulay Culkin. I must also add, I love the way the character Shiv, Roman's sister, rolls her eyes at the mention of Glenn, the Brexit pervert, obviously alluding to some sort of interaction that she's had with him in the past.
You know Glenn the Brexit pervert? Yeah, he just sent...
And it got me thinking, is this meant to be Nigel Farage? Now, this would go with the theme of the show, because the whole show is a collection of characters that are sort of strongly alluded to being real-life characters. I'll explain, for those of you that haven't seen the show, I strongly recommend watching it, because it's a fantastic show. But basically, the show is... It's Rupert Murdoch. It's about Rupert Murdoch. It's obviously Rupert Murdoch. The character's name is Logan Roy, brilliantly played by Brian Cox. It's Rupert Murdoch. It obviously is. But what the show does so brilliantly is it sort of does these subtle differences. So instead of being Australian like Rupert Murdoch is, Logan Roy is Scottish. He runs a news network in America called ATN
TV.
Why shouldn't we do all the news?
Well, Kim Jong Pop, because that's not how things work in this country.
Instead of Fox News. It's very right-leaning with racist undertones.
Not a black male, not a Chinese male with his eyes like this.
This gentleman is Bernie Sanders. Well, it's not Bernie Sanders, it's Gil Evis. He's the character that is running for the Democrat nominee in the show, and he wants to take down Logan Roy, i.e. Rupert Murdoch. Now, this character is Gerald McKenna. It's alluded to that he's a Trump-like character. Obviously looks nothing like him, but he's got far-right tendencies and is looking for the support of the Fox News, Rupert Murdoch empire to push for his nomination. So this is what I'm talking about, and this is what the show does so well. It gives these subtle hints to these characters being real-life people, but doesn't make it too obvious with the way they look. I guess the nearest one would be the character Gil that is meant to be Bernie Sanders. There's a slight resemblance there, but the character Gerald looks, nothing like Donald Trump. And so going back to the Brexit pervert Glenn, he's portrayed as quite a well-presented, attractive man. And Farage, on the other hand, well, you decide for yourself. But really, I think he has to be the only candidate. I mean, the other candidate, I guess, could be Boris Johnson or any other high-end Conservative Party Brexit supporters. But I think the only candidate has to be Nigel Farage. The scene in question is actually... where they're choosing the next Republican nominee.
So what is this?
Picking the next president.
Who do we like?
And basically all the nominees are sucking up to Logan Roy, Rupert Murdoch, for his support. So we know that Nigel Farage has his ties with Trump and with the Republican Party. We also know that he has his ties with Fox News and has appeared on Fox News quite a few times. So I think it has to be Farage, really. It has to be. So where does this Brexit pervert comment come from?
You know Glenn the Brexit pervert?
Does the show's writer know something about Farage that we don't, and is maybe trying to put in a subtle hint? The show is written by British screenwriter Jesse Armstrong, who was also a writer on the incredible Channel 4 comedy Peep Show.
4 none, Jeremy. 4? That's insane.
So does Jesse Armstrong know something about Farage that we don't? Maybe he's had some interactions with Farage back in England and is trying to put in some subtle hints about the ex-UKIP leader being a bit of a perv. Who knows? Obviously, this is all conjecture and there's no evidence. But I just find it really fascinating because this seems like a show where nothing's put in place without a reason, and it's just really interested me, that throwaway comment. They could have done any sort of comedic jibe at a Nigel Farage character, but it's just very interesting. Glenn the Brexit pervert. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you seen the show? Please don't give any spoilers down below. I've tried to do this video as no spoilers if anyone hasn't seen the show, because I do strongly recommend that you go and see it if you haven't seen it, especially regular viewers of my channel. You know, if you're into politics, if you're into this world of Rupert Murdoch and US politics, you'll find it incredibly interesting. And HBO just seem to have a knack of being able to produce the most incredible shows. They seem to just leave the writers to do what their vision is without any interference, and they've produced, you know, the best shows out there. Sopranos, Game of Thrones, obviously, The Juice, Treme, Boardwalk Empire, and of course the greatest show of all time, The Wire. Not just the greatest show, but just the greatest piece of art ever, as said by President Barack Obama.
At the front end, I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan of The Wire. I think it's one of the greatest, not just television shows, but pieces of art in the last couple of decades. I was a huge fan of it.
I'd actually strongly recommend anyone to watch that interview with Obama. It's incredibly interesting, with the creator of The Wire, David Simon. They talk into drug policy, the war on drugs. Go find it on YouTube. Just type in Obama and The Wire. It's a fantastic watch. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on the Brexit pervert. Do you have any different theories? Could it be someone else? Please let me know down below. Till next time, take care.